Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess and in today's tutorial I am going to be teaching you how to create a perfectly flat circle. Now this can be difficult to do, especially depending on how your tension is, but this is the basics for how to do it, and I will also give you some tips if it isn't perfectly flat, what you can do to help make it flat. So let's jump into the tutorial. So for today's tutorial, I'm just going to be using this size 4 medium weight yarn. It's on the bigger side of size 4, I would say, but it is a size 4 as per the packaging for this yarn. And I'm just going to be using a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. I personally like to use smaller crochet hooks with yarn this size, just because I find that for myself, for my tension, and for the look that I want to get, that's what works best for me. So to start off, we are going to make a magic ring. Now I do have a couple tutorials on how to do a magic ring, and I can link those in the description box if that is helpful for you guys. Oopsies. All right, so there is my magic ring. Now, normally when creating amigurumi, we're not going to chain anything because we're going to be working in a spiral. But for this specific pattern that I'm going to show you, you could use this for like a coaster if that works for you. But basically, we want to work in the round, but we want to begin and end our rounds at each time so you can really see the definition. And I'll show you what I mean by that when we reach that point. So to start off with this one, we're going to crochet, we're going to chain 2. So magic ring, chain 2. Now inside our magic ring here, we're going to create 10 double crochets. Now this would work with any size stitch. It does not have to be a double crochet. I'm just using that today for my example. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So just like this. And then I'm just going to pull my yarn tail tight. So this is what we're looking like right now. We have this big opening still, but this is what our 10 double crochets are looking like. Now what we want to do, normally when we're working in the round, we would just continue crocheting around, but I want to close off this circle. So I'm going to look at my stitches here. Right here, you can see my chain 2. So chain 1, chain 2. And this V right here, that is the first double crochet stitch that I made. So I want to make a slip stitch into that stitch. Like that. And that's going to make your perfect first round. Now the secret to the perfectly flat circle is your increase rounds. So after you complete your magic ring, right now we have 10 stitches around. So if we complete another 10 stitches around and around and around, we're going to create a tube. And this is really basic amigurumi creation as well. If that's what you're looking to get into, this applies to everything for shaping of your amigurumi. So if we want a flat circle, instead of crocheting 10, because we already have 10, we want to double our stitch count in round 2. So to start round 2, we are going to chain 2 again. Now we are currently in this first stitch right here, and our slip stitch created another stitch right here, so we still have 10. So we're going to be working into this stitch right here. We're going to place increase stitches. So an increase stitch is 2 double crochets in one, or 2 of any stitch in one stitch, to double it. So I just placed 2 double crochets in this one stitch. And I'm going to go around and complete that with every stitch. And at the end of this round, your stitch count will go from 10 to 20. Now we are doubling this round, but usually I just increase the same amount each time. So we're increasing by 10 stitches right now, and then next round we will do the same. And that's how we maintain that flat circle. All right, so that is round 2, and sometimes I'll just give my stitches a little bit of a stretch. You also just want to make sure that you're maintaining your tension, but this is what we're looking like right now. I mean, obviously you're going to get potentially a little bit of curling at the edges. It's really hard to get it perfectly flat, but this is how I make it as flat as possible. So once we are at the end of round 2, we're going to do the same thing. So if you look really closely at your work, you have your chain 2, and then this is your first stitch. So I'm going to go into that first stitch here, and I'm going to place a slip stitch. And that is going to close off my round for round 2. Now for round 3, like I had mentioned in round 2, we're going to increase by 10 again. So it'll be 10 rounds in the first, 10 stitches in the first. We doubled that to 20 in the second, but we want to maintain increasing by 10 stitches every time to maintain the flatness of our circle. So this time for round 3, we're going to chain 2 again. Now the combination we're going to do is double crochet 1 and an increase. So double crochet 1, and then in the next stitch we're going to do that increase, so 2 in 1. Just like that. And we're going to repeat that a total of 10 times. And that will increase our stitch count to 30. And that is exactly what we want. Still maintaining the same tension as best you can. I know that can be the hardest thing, but if you change tension throughout your project, you will not get a flat circle. All right, so that is number 3. I'm just gonna pull it a little bit. So this is kind of like we're looking like. I do have a tiny bit of a curve, but for the most part, it is pretty straight. And again, we're gonna skip these 2 chains here, and we're gonna slip stitch right into this stitch right here to close off round 3. Here we go. Now you can see, I'm not sure if you can tell from this view, but my edges are slightly raised. I mean, if you know how to get away with that, away from that, then please let me know because this is really as flat as I'm able to get it. Now, if you're having troubles getting it super flat, the only suggestion I would have for you is to block your project. Now, I do have a video out on how to block your fabric and your yarn, but basically you can wash it, you can pin it down when it's wet to a piece of like foam to keep its shape, and then once it fully dries, it usually will hold that shape. And you can also steam block it with a steamer or an iron. So that would be my suggestion to you if you're not getting that perfectly round circle. But this is how I create my flat circles. Now the next round, if you wanted to make this bigger, you would do the combination single or double crochet 2 and an increase stitch. So you're still increasing by 10 every time, if that makes sense. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Please let us know in the comments down below if there's anything else you're looking to see. Otherwise, we hope you guys have a lovely day and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.